Hey, if you are a homeowner, no doubt you've noticed that it's costing more to own your place, from high mortgage rates to high property taxes. And according to S&P Global Analysis, insurance premiums in Texas have jumped 23%. That was last year. We're also learning that some homeowners are even being denied coverage. They can't even get it. So this morning, I'm joined by Texas Monthly senior editor Michael Hardy to learn how these concerns are impacting people in Houston and really all over our state. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I mean, you were able to write about this in Texas Monthly with your own personal experience. So I think that's what a lot of people found really interesting. Talk to us about that. Were you buying a new house?
Yes, my wife and I got married in October, and we recently purchased our first home together. It's this cute one-story bungalow in the Heights, and we loved it. You know, we found a good, broker, a good real estate agent. But when it came to buy home insurance, we were shocked by how much the premiums were that we were quoted.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a broker I was selling in the commercial break who said that, you get your loan approved, you know how much the house is, so you're figuring out about how much your monthly mortgage is going to be with taxes rolled in, and then about how much did that increase what you would have been paying a month?
Well, the premium we ended up going with was about $4,400 a year, which is more than twice what the national average is, but it's in line with what most Texans pay.
Yeah.
Texans pay some of the highest home insurance rates in the entire country.
Why? So we mentioned 23% from last year, but we've been seeing these increases now, I think, for the last 3 years.
That's right. Home insurance rates went up 23% last year. That's double the national increase. So home insurance rates are rising faster than they are anywhere else in the country. And the reason for that is what we saw last week, all the natural disasters we've been having.
Yeah.
Whether it's Winter Storm Uri, whether it's Hurricane Harvey, whether it's just the floods or the derecho from last week, insurance companies have been paying out enormous, settlements and claims in these disasters.
I mean, and I think nobody likes insurance companies. Sorry, but I mean, whenever you hear that, I think people are like, oh yeah, right. I mean, because yes, we had derecho. Hurricane Harvey was in 2017, but I guess they're sort of evening this out, like spreading it out, because if you look at the natural disasters all across the country, that's impacting people, right? I mean,
sure.
Can you talk a little bit about companies that are just denying coverage completely? I mean, it's one thing to basically say, oh my gosh, well, I got to fork over this money because you have to have insurance, but quite another when they say, sorry, we're not going to cover you, you're too high risk. You're
right, and that's happening more and more often. It happened to my wife and I.
Really?
We were denied by multiple insurance companies. Despite the fact that our home that we purchased in the Heights has never flooded. It's well outside of the floodplain. It's in the Heights. The Heights is called that for a reason. But we got denied because some insurance companies are just writing off Texas entirely as too expensive to insure.
And we say exiting the market. I mean, they're leaving, and that basically leaves you with fewer choices. So there is an option, and we've reported just a little bit on this, but there is an option whenever you can't find a private insurance company. I mean, what did you do? What did you have to do to get insurance?
We ended up getting two quotes. One was from a private insurance company called Wellington that's based out of Dallas. They gave us a quote for about $6,000 a year. And the only other one we got was from the Texas Fair Plan, which is created by the state. It's called an insurer of last resort. And basically, the idea is if you've been rejected by every other insurance carrier, they will write you a policy. And that's who we had to go with because it doesn't get great reviews, but we needed insurance, and they were the only one that we could afford.
I mean, yeah, and you know what I feel? This is terrible, but we started reporting several years ago that people were saying with car insurance, you have to have it, but don't use it, because then it's going to be so expensive. You almost feel the same thing about home insurance, that if you file that claim that you don't, that's not for something major, that they're going to drop you the next go round.
Yeah, and that was part of the problem, is that the house that I currently own, which is in Montrose, it's a townhouse, I did have to file 2 claims over the past 3 years. And there's no question that played a role in making it harder for me to get a policy this time.
Right.
But it's not just me. I interviewed dozens of Texans, and I heard their stories. People are getting denied insurance. insurance companies are telling them you have to replace your roof, even if your roof is only 10 years old.
That's me, yeah.
Before they'll even give you a policy.
Right, so this Texas Fair Plan, if somebody needs to learn about that, and I'm not sure well, you're in the journalism business, so you probably found your way there, but how do people get there and find those options?
Well, I worked with an insurance broker, and that's what the experts that I spoke to recommend. Brokers will shop around for the best rate. And our broker came back with a policy from the Texas Fair Plan and one from that other insurance company, Wellington.
And I was really surprised because I thought the Texas Fair Plan was a lot like the provider of last resort on the electric market, that you're going to be stuck with these shockingly high rates. And you said the rate wasn't terrible compared to other ones that you couldn't get. It just is not a great
Yeah,
policy.
well, we only got quoted 2 rates, and the Texas Fair Plan happened to be the cheapest.
Okay.
So, our thought was neither insurance plan was very good. We might as well go for the cheap bad plan rather than the expensive bad plan.
Right, and then there are your options. Yeah, a terrible place to be. Do you know, we're going to wrap up here, but real quick, do you know if our state leaders are working on anything? Can they do anything about this?
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has asked a committee of the Texas Senate to look at ways to reduce home insurance costs during the next legislative session, which is next year.
Okay. We know sometimes that takes a while. I mean, they discuss it and then they come back. Yeah.
It's a discussion. It's a complicated problem, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Right. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in to explain it for us. You'll be able to watch this whole interview on KPRC, click2houston.com, and we'll link you to information about that Texas Fair Plan as well. Michael Hardy, thank you so much.
Thank you.